Right, so let's take a look at this final question here. So when we set it up, we have our amount, which is identified as 18,000. We want to know what you have to deposit initially, which is our p-value. So that's our unknown. 1 plus our interest rate is 8% in decimal form, 0.08, divided by the number of compoundings. Daily means it's compounded 365 times per year, the number of days in a year. And that's all to the power of whatever our compoundings was, 365 times t, which is 25 years. So here is our calculation. So what we can do with the TI-89 is we can solve for our unknown by just entering this formula. Okay, so I'm going to use my solve feature, F2 algebra tab, select solve, type in 18,000 equals, I'm going to use x here. Now remember, you have to explicitly multiply, right? If you just wrote x and then parentheses, it's not going to read that correctly, so you have to write x times the quantity 1 plus 0.08 divided by 365. I'm going to put that all to the power of, and I need to, because I have a product in my power, I need to put grouping symbols, 365 times 25, close that off, and then tell the calculator what I want it to solve for. I'm solving for x here. Okay, I've already entered a decimal in my 0.08, so my answer is going to be displayed as a decimal, so I'm good here. And when I hit enter, I get my solution of 2,436 and 57 if you round it to the nearest penny. So 2436.57 would be the amount that you would need to enter. Now, I had mentioned that you can also use a numeric solver for this. Okay, so let's talk about where that's located. If you go to your kind of like your startup screen where the icons are, you can scroll through it or hit the letter N and it'll jump right to that, or you can go into your apps and choose, for me, it's all the way at the bottom, numeric solver. If you are going to enter an equation, I simply enter it right here, and I'm going to enter this whole formula. So I have A equals P. I'm going to use the actual variables here, times the quantity 1 plus, I'll use R, divided by N. Close that off, and to the power of, in grouping symbols, N times T. Close it off. Okay. Once I hit enter on this, this will now be stored as one of my equations, but also it allows me to go in and put all my information except for one. Okay. So in a problem like what I just solved for here, if I was entering this in, my final amount A is 18,000. My principal is unknown, so I'm going to leave that blank. My number of compoundings was daily, so 365. My time was 25 years, and my interest rate was 0.08 in decimal form. And so if I go back and put my cursor in that empty spot for P, notice one of my tab commands is solve. So if I hit F2, it's going to solve and tell me what that p-value needs to be for everything else to work. And I see it confirms what I wrote from before, 2436.57.